Okay, gang, now we're going to do the more difficult cases for 7.2. And what makes it more difficult is that now the leading coefficient is not a 1, it's something else. And what's making it more difficult is both the lead coefficient and the back number. I didn't want this x squared here. I changed the problem. Sorry, that looks confusing. It's the lead coefficient and the back number are both making the 10. So the 3 and the 8 are both making the 10. Just ignore that thing on the end. I had changed the problem. So how you're going to do this is, the method I'm going to show you is you're going to multiply the front and the back term. Make sure you include the sign. So 3 times 8. So if we think of this, no, let me not. All right, let me just leave it at this. So plus 24. So it has to multiply to plus 24, and it's going to have to add to the middle term, which is a positive 10. So this technique will always work if it's factorable, if you like this. So you're going to multiply the front and the back term, and it has to add to the middle term. The thing is that this isn't the answer in the box, and that's where people get confused. It's actually a two-step method. Alright, since this is positive and that's positive, it is double positive, so it has to add to 10. It's this, because 4 plus 6 is 10. Alright, the thing is that this is not the answer. This is what we're going to use to break the middle term. It doesn't matter which order you do this in, and I know that sounds weird, but it will come out as the same answer. The work will look a little different if you put the 6 first versus the 4, but the final answer will be the same. It's just a work. It's like if you go to work or go to school at a different route, the middle looks different, but you still get to the same destination. Alright, now what this does is it breaks it into 4 terms, and once it's 4 terms, you have to recognize the technique is factor by grouping, which is what I taught in 7.1. Alright, factor by grouping, I take out the A, bring down the sign of the third term, take out the 2. Remember, factor by grouping is 2 steps. So now step 2, I take out the common binomial, and I'm left with this. And that's the final answer. And we know we can check it, because if we FOIL this out, it has to make that. Okay, I'm going to do this technique with you again, just so you can see it more times. So again, you take the front and the back term, and you multiply it together. You have to watch the sign. So this would make a positive 56. It multiplies to a positive 56. It has to add to a negative 30. Alright, since it has to add to a negative 30, it means the higher number is negative, because you need more negative. Oh, sorry, it has to be double negative, because it has to multiply to a positive. I was thinking a negative to a negative. Okay, so it has, since it's positive and you have to make a negative, it has to be a double negative. Alright, let's see which one does that. It's this one. Alright, so again, this isn't the answer. This is what you're going to use to break the middle term. Order, again, does not matter. If you put the negative 28 first, it's going to come out correct. You can't screw up the order. It's impossible. So just put whatever one you like better first. Okay, so now we're going to do factor by grouping. Again, you have to take the sign of the middle, the third term always. You have to always bring that down. And that, because you're factoring out a negative 4, it's going to make this a negative 2. If that confuses you, go backwards. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. Alright, remember this is 2 steps. There we go. That's the final answer on that one. Alright. Now this can be done in 2 variables as well. It's the same idea. So I'm going to multiply the 8 times the 3. That makes a positive 24. It's going to have to add to a negative 14. So again, I need the double negatives. Let me just first write out the numbers. Alright, so double negative case again. Alright, that's this guy. Adds to a negative 14. Alright, I'm going to break the middle term. Order doesn't matter. Alright, now I'm going to do factor by grouping. Two x on the front one. Got to bring down the sign of the third term. 3y on the second one. You got the negative. Negative times the negative give you back a positive. Factor out the common binomial. Okay, this one, take out the common factor first. There's nothing common with the numbers. You could take out 2 f's. Oh, I wrote this wrong. And 2 g's. Okay, so now if we make the table, 3 times 30 is 90. Has to add to a positive 23. Let's see, 4 doesn't go in there, 5 goes in there, 1, 16, 6 goes in there, 7, no, 8, no, 9. That looks like all of them. Alright, it's got to add to 23. I must have passed it. Let's see. This adds to 21. This adds to... did I lose it? Let me just check my math here. 5 goes in there. 140. Oh, 8. I wrote the wrong number here. Okay. There it is. Alright, so it's this guy. Let's see here. So we're going to break the middle term. Okay, now we do the grouping. Now the common factor, you're just going to drag it along. This is why I use square brackets, because now I'm also going to be using parentheses, so it gets a little confusing if I use double parentheses. F. I don't know. F. Okay. Okay, so these... Now I'm going to pull out the common binomial. And I'm left with 5f plus 3. Okay, gang, we did it. We did it. So that's a technique for if the leading coefficient is not a 1. You know, I'm just sort of curious. We didn't get one that had a negative, so let me just grab one more. Let me just grab one more here. Oh no, that number's going to be too high. I wouldn't ask you something that high. Let me ask you something that's more realistic of what I would ask you. Well, there's not a lot of negatives here. Okay, there's one. Alright, let me... a squared plus ab minus 5b squared. Yeah, let me just do one, because you guys haven't really seen when this was a negative in front. So 6 times 5 is negative 30, right? Because you got to watch the sign. Yeah, I just don't think I showed you one like this, so I don't want to miss this one. And by the way, I'm crossing this one out because I'm not going to give you something where the number's really large. Some people are really good at guessing, and if you're guessing, you don't have to show this work. But most of us make sort of like a table or something. And for those of us who make a table, sometimes when the numbers get too high, it just becomes too much of a... I don't want to make it like a huge exercise in fiddling with numbers. So I'll be mindful of the numbers that I pick. What do we got? 3 times 10, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this has to multiply to a negative but add to a positive, so the smaller one's got to be negative. That's this one. So I'm just breaking the middle term here. Negative 5 plus 6 will go back to one of those. Okay, now we do the factor by grouping. Take out the common binomial. Okay, and then that's it. We've got it. Okay, gang, I hope that helped. Again, there's other techniques on the web, so if this one doesn't float your boat, then why don't you find one that does? All right, I'll catch you in the next section. Bye-bye.